Hi you guys, so it is officially now 2 weeks post-competition, post-show day, and I knew I wanted to do some sort of video reflecting upon that day because it was like one of the most best days of my life, and I want something here to be able to remember it and to just explain kind of like how it went and how I felt. And while I could sit here and ramble for like 30 minutes of everything that happened and all of my feelings and thoughts throughout it, that in all reality would be pretty boring. So what I decided to do instead was, well, it was supposed to be 6 competition highlights, but I ended up doing 7 competition highlights. I wanted to do 6 because 6 is like my lucky number, and I thought I did 6, but then I did number 6 twice, so in all reality it is 7 of my competition highlights. But in all honesty, leading up to the show, I was really skeptical of whether or not the struggles of prep and the fatigue I was dealing with was going to be worth it, but I had so much fun that day that it was honestly all so worth it. I'm not gonna lie, I did struggle really hard the last couple of weeks of prep because my fatigue was something I've never dealt with before, like my tiredness, my cravings, my hunger, but the day was so much fun, and I hope you watched my video of the show day, and without further ado, here are my 7 highlights from show day. Highlight number 1. Seeing everything come together, the hair, the makeup, the tan, the jewelry, the heels, the bikini, having just everything together for the first time and really feeling like, holy shit, I'm doing this. Highlight number 2. This is actually more of a low light. 1 hour before the show, during the competitors meeting, I found out that the back pose I had been practicing this whole time was not allowed. Shit. But I wasn't the only one. Highlight number 3. The tan. If you know me, or if you look at me right now, obviously, I am the palest person I know. So me with a tan, that dark, was weird, it was cool, I looked way more jacked, that was cool. It also caused a lot of issues, like the thing I mentioned in my last video. If you watched it, there was a slight/large issue with it the morning of the show, and then I had to get a billion touch-ups, and at one point when I was about to go on stage, literally right as I was about to go on stage, a drip of water dripped on my leg. So there was some tanning people back there with some sponges that they could help you like sponge certain things out, and so I went up to the lady and I was like, hey, can you sponge this out for me? And she like sprayed something on my leg and a bunch of the tan came off, my whole thigh was messed up, and she was like, oh, you're really pale. I was like, yeah. And so literally 2 minutes before I went on stage, she ended up having to just like spray makeup on my leg to make it look okay. Luckily, I am almost back to my regular skin color, or lack thereof. Highlight number 4. Eating all of the carbs. 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 Carbs, 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 carbs. Highlight number 5. Having all of like the most important people there to me was like the greatest feeling ever. I had my 4 closest friends, my brother and my dad, which is basically my whole family. So just having like the 6 literally most important people in my life there to support me was like the greatest thing ever, and like being able to see them right before I went on stage and like wave at me, it was just a really, I don't know, fulfilling feeling having all the people there close to me to support me. And like my brother drove 11 hours to be there, and my dad has no desire to watch a bunch of tan people flex on stage, and I don't think he really understands it, but he came there and supported me, as well as all my friends who drove a couple hours as well. And I got my friends to take a flexing picture with me, which was probably the first and only time that will ever happen. Usually it's a picture of us and I'm throwing up a flex and they're sitting there like, so that was great. Highlight number 6. Being around people that could relate to the struggles of what it took to get to that point. There were a lot. Highlight number 6 is my favorite highlight of the whole entire weekend. Highlight number 6 is more of a feeling, an emotion, and a moment for me than anything else. It's the one moment on stage where I can truly remember and feel the feeling that I felt. It was when they were deciding who they were going to call out for the first call outs, which is guaranteed top 5. And I had pretty much come to terms with the fact that I didn't make the top 5 at that moment. Like I had already come to terms with it because all of the girls looked so good, and I felt like my transitions weren't as smooth as I had practiced. And there were so many girls in my class, I had just already come to the conclusion that I didn't make top 5. But there's always still like the slight glimmer of hope that you did. And when they were calling out the top 5 or the first call outs, they don't do it in order of like first, second, third, fourth, fifth, because they still haven't decided that far yet, but they call it out in numerical order of what your number is. I was number 196, so I knew as soon as they called a number higher than 196 that I didn't make first call outs, and I was just waiting for that. And like the closer they got to my number, the more anxious I got and the harder my heart was beating. And I think it went 188, 193, and then 196. And the second that they called my number was like the moment that I was like, oh my god, I did it. Like, I didn't think I was gonna place at all, so for just placing, like, even if I had placed 5th place, I would still, like, feel like I had basically won for as best that I can win. And it was just a feeling that I don't think I'll ever forget. And at that point, I just felt like, oh my god, I did it. Like, all the hard work and the sweat and the tears and everything that I put into it, and every single minute of cardio, and there were hundreds of thousands of minutes of cardio, and every bite of egg whites and chicken and asparagus, and saying no to a lot of things, like going out to eat and eating things that I wanted but didn't fit my macros, and just all the moments that led up to that point I had really felt right there. And that for me is the biggest highlight of the whole entire show. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed my 7 highlights from show day. Like I said, it was like one of the best days of my life. I ended up placing 4th out of, I think it was 18 girls, which I did not expect to place at all. And looking back at the picture of us top 5 girls standing there, I literally like want to cry every time because I'm so happy with it, and I'm so proud of myself for making it that far and like actually placing. I didn't expect to do that at all. And just like a couple days ago, I realized that all the girls standing next to me that I had placed with, they all had coaches. And while I'm not taking away the fact that they placed the way that they did and they put in all that work, I did the prep entirely myself. I taught myself how to pose, I made my own macros, I structured my own workouts and my own cardio. And while that does not make me better than anyone else, like, I wish I had a coach, I wish I had someone there guiding me along, but I'm really proud of myself, the fact that I was able to stand next to all these girls that did have the guidance of a coach. And while they did, like I said, they did have to put in like the work and the hard work, but it does help to have like a little bit of guidance, which I do wish that I had, because on show day I was kind of like nervous about messing something up in terms of food and water and sodium and things like that. But I was just so proud of myself for being able to do that and get that far and be able to place when I did it all myself. And it's just it was a really awesome feeling. I obviously, like, I didn't get 1st place, and that's okay. Like, I didn't even expect to get 4th place. I didn't think I was gonna place at all. I think I've said that so many times, but I'm still just like in shock that I even placed 4th. So that was really cool. And I wish I could just like express how I truly feel about how fun it was and how proud I am of myself. It's a weird thing to say that you're proud of yourself. Like, of course I have improvements that I need to make. More specifically, I know that I need to work on my posing. I definitely froze up on my posing a little bit on stage, and I need to work on my glutes and my hamstrings. Because of my posing, I definitely didn't display my glutes and my hamstrings in the best way that I could have, and I just need to work on being more flowy and natural. But that brings me to the fact that about 4 weeks from today, I will be competing in another show. It's the Oregon State Championships, and it is on June 25th. After my show, I did take a week-long diet break, which I feel like my body really needed because I was very depleted, and I just really needed a reboot in my metabolism, in my energy, and my hormone levels in order to boost me through another 5 weeks of prepping. So I have been back on my diet for a week now, and things are going in the right direction, and I'm hoping to bring in a little bit of a leaner physique this coming competition. And I'm just so excited to do this again, and I'm just so thankful for all the people that supported me through this whole thing, and especially on the day of the show. My friends, my boyfriend, my brother, my dad all came out to be there for me, and it was just the most amazing feeling ever. But yeah, I'm excited for another one. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you got to watch my show day video. I just keep rewatching it and I just like have a big grin on my face the whole entire time. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this video right here. Thank you so much for watching, and per usual, don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like that shit. Bye!